Okay.
Recording is in progress, and I'm going to begin to share the video. Thank you. Just a moment.
All right.
Well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir. The ball's in your court. Ambassador James, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. My name is Chaplain James Mercy Obatunmibi. I am the Chief Executive Officer of World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity. And officially, I want to welcome everyone on board today that is joining us in today's program. Today is March 1st, the United Nations International Day for Zero Discrimination. We are one. Humanity is one. No matter what, in sickness, we are one. We shouldn't discriminate. Religion should not discriminate us. Religion should not segregate us. Politics should not separate us, should not discriminate us. We are one. We should promote gender equality. We should promote oneness wherever we find ourselves. And this is why we are here today, and we have special guests of honor that we have invited to talk and to enlighten the world more about this topic, zero discrimination. Firstly, we have the governing council members of World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity with us today. First from His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr., the International Board Chairman of World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity. And as well, we have other board members. Dr. Yewande Okunore, she's here with us as well. And others that will be joining us today. I can see writer from India and others that will be joining us. We'll be announcing them or recognizing them one after the other. And with me today from World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity is Chaplain Josephine, which is going to be the moderator for today's program. And she will be the one to announce the speakers for today to us from United States, from Sudan, and as well from India. So thank you so much for coming on board and having us today. So over to you, Chaplain Josephine Ekudaibu.
Good afternoon, everyone from here, from Nigeria. My name is Chaplain Josephine Ekudaibu once again, and thank you to my humble and exceptional boss. This is Josephine Ekudaibu from World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity. And today being March 1st, as he has rightly said, we are promoting Zero Discrimination Day, a day for compassion, for peace, and above all, movement for change. And we all know this is very, very important in our present society. So, but with no, let's not prolong the whole matter because the program is going to be a very glorious one because we have wonderful speakers amongst us. So first, I'll start by the first speaker we'll be having with us would be, sorry for my pronunciation, Dr. Shauli Mukherjee. Sorry if that pronunciation is wrong, you will correct me as time goes on. That will be our first speaker from India. And we're having our second speaker with Sir Timothy M. Davis from the United States of America. As well, we have a third speaker, who's Dr. Nahal Suleman, sorry for my pronunciation at the same time, from Sudan. So after that, we'll move to our question and answer. So as we have these speakers coming on board, we'd like you to have your questions written down or write them on the chat. So drop them there while they are moderating, or while they are saying, giving us their topics or talking on the topic we have at hand today. So write the questions down there, so they will be addressing it at the end of their the program or their speeches. So from there, we'll be having contributions from the audience. We're having contributions from the audience. Then we'll quickly move to the recognition of participants and healthcare workers by Dr. Yewande Okunore, our beautiful mom in the house. And afterwards, we'll move to the prayer for Ukraine. We'll all see what is happening in Ukraine at the moment. We all need prayer. This is still one thing we are praying for peace and unity. So we need to pray for Ukraine, and our humble chaplain will be handling that for us when the time has come. And to close the program, we'll be having His Royal Highness Andrew William James for the closing remark. So with all this, so let's start with our first speaker in the house. We'd like to have you, Dr. Shauli. Sorry, I didn't pronounce your name well, so maybe you correct me. You correct me more. So let's have you on board now.
Thank you so much. Just let me know whether I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. And Josephine, this is just to let you know that you have pronounced my name absolutely correctly, I would say. So it was not mispronounced at all.
Thank you very much.
It's indeed a pleasure for me to be on this platform today, and especially on such a pertinent occasion. That is, we all have gathered here from all parts of the globe to celebrate the Zero Discrimination Day, which is definitely a very, very significant and momentous day to be celebrated on a grand scale. And I'm sharing this with you from the perspective and lens of an empowered and a progressive educator. Now, I am a passionate academician with more than 23 years of experience in the education sector, a global thought leader and an inspirational speaker. So my area of expertise and forte lies in the field of education, and especially from that perspective and from that lens, I can tell you that how important I feel this particular day is, and it is indeed very, very significant and very pertinent that we should all come together on platforms like this collectively to talk about it, to raise awareness, to raise consciousness about the concept of zero discrimination and how important it is for each one of us today. It is indeed unfortunate that, from the developed nations or from the developing nations, we still feel that we need to arrive at such a point where we can actually say that there is absolutely no discrimination anywhere. But we are not able to say that because discrimination is very much a viability in today's world. And it is quite embarrassing. It is quite, I would say it's unfortunate, it's embarrassing for people like us who are educated, who are empowered, to face this kind of a situation where we have to address this issue on a public scale. Now, discriminations can be of various kinds, and we all know that, but specifically, since we have started the month of March, and the entire month of March is actually a celebration of the power of womanhood. So I would just like to share a little bit of my insights regarding the discriminations that women continue to face even till date. So it is again not about my country or about my nation, but yes, typically it has been seen in India that when girls hit their puberty, most of the girls, especially belonging to the rural region, they are made to drop out of the education system. And when there are two siblings, one boy and one girl, it is absolutely, natural that the parents prefer that the boys should continue with the education and the girls should be made to drop out of the education system and should be more involved in the household chores and should be eventually married off at a very, very early age. So this is a very, very sad and an unfortunate situation, which we still see here in India and most of the rural parts of India. Does that mean that the situation is extremely rosy in the urban part as well? Well, maybe not. So we may think that education has reached a lot of parts of our country and people have truly been empowered. But here I would like to ask a question: what is the meaning of true education? Is it only formal education? Is it only about getting a degree or a certificate? After you complete your so-called formal education, and at the same time, you don't even get an insight into the most important things that are facing all of us today. Is this what education is all about? I say this because I feel that discrimination is even done in the families which are so-called educated and empowered and progressive, where it starts right from the moment when a mother starts discriminating a boy child and a girl child by using the color codes. That is, using pink for the girls and blue for the boys. And let me tell you, most of the mothers are educated. It continues when the parents decide that if my child is having his or her birthday or the first or the second birthday, if it happens to be a girl child, I'll buy her a doll to play with. And if it happens to be a boy child, I'll buy him a toy gun or a toy car. It continues even at that point of time when our grandparents and even sometimes our parents tell us the fairy tales, read out to us the fairy tales which we love to hear. Now, if you just consider the thread, the common thread that lies in almost all the fairy tales, it's something like this. The female protagonist in almost all the fairy tales happen to be someone who is white, slim, and fair, as well as slim. So, and at the same time, that female protagonist is construed as somebody who is good, but at the same time, absolutely helpless and waiting for a handsome prince or a handsome knight to come and rescue her from her hopelessness. So are we trying to tell our future generation through those fairy tales when they are at a really impressionable age in their lives that, well, girls, if you have to be considered to be beautiful, then you have to be slim and you have to be fair. So are we trying to give these signals to our daughters right from the very childhood? Again, if you consider in the fairy tales, the characters which are so-called villainous characters, they are the ones who are extremely ambitious and they have a high level of intelligence. Again, let us take a pause and let us ask this question, that what signals are we giving our daughters? That if you are ambitious in your life and if you have a high level of intelligence, well, this society will construe you as a villainous character. So are we aware of the kind of signals that we are actually giving our sons and daughters since the very childhood? This is also education, and this is also a very, very vital way in which discrimination is fostered in our society. Now, we don't tend to think a lot, maybe, in this regards, because this happens in our societies in an autopilot mode. We never really think a lot. We never really introspect what kind of signals and what kind of messages we are actually transmitting to our daughters and to our sons. We don't consider them seriously. But if considered seriously, we will know that we have to be extremely mindful about our attitudes. We have to be mindful about our expressions. We have to be mindful about each and every word that we speak to our future generation. And we have to be cautious about the fact that whether unknowingly, unwittingly, unconsciously, we are actually fostering and helping to promote a lot of gender discrimination and a lot of gender bias and a lot of gender stereotypes through our behavior patterns. We have to be mindful as parents. We have to be mindful as grandparents. We have to be mindful as teachers. We have to be mindful as educators. I think it's time. I think the time is ripe when we really have to redefine what true education means. True education or real education is not to get a lot of facts and figures in your head and to get degrees and certificates. True education is to become conscious. True education is to become sensitive. True education is to become extremely responsible and try to understand the duties, the responsibilities, and the enormous power that each one of us have within us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Our first speaker. This is very, very insightful. She has said it all. Childhood is an impressional stage, so we have to be mindful of the words and signals we pass to them. So let's be very, very mindful of that. Thank you very much. And for all of us that are just coming in, we say welcome once again to this wonderful program we're having at hand. And if you have your questions, please write them down in the comment section. So at the end of the whole sections, we'll be taking questions and answers. So we would like to welcome the second speaker in the house. Do we have the second speaker, sir? And Sir Timothy M. David from USA. Do we have you here, sir?
Yes, you have me.
Sir Timothy. All right, sir. Thank you very much. You are very welcome. So you have the floor to yourself, sir.
Thank you so much. And I take that as a yes, that you can hear me clearly. Is that correct?
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you so much. All right. First of all, let me greet everyone. It is my utmost pleasure to be here with everyone today. And honestly, I want to appreciate the organization that set this up and every individual, collective groups that have made this to be able to take place today. Even though we can do this in person or physical, but even having this virtually and also streaming it live on social medias, I believe this right step in the right directions. And it goes a long way to also tell us how much we all are into this fight and how much we can actually make little changes. So again, thank you so much. And I'm very honored to speak today with everyone. And looking at my time watch, my stopwatch, I see Dr. Shauli spent almost 11 minutes and 12 seconds. So I'm going to try to beat that record. I like challenges, but that's just a joke on the side. This is a very complex topic when we talk about discrimination. And you may wonder, why do I even say it's complex? Well, why did I use that word, complex? Again, the reason is because there's a lot of topic. The first speaker already touched briefly on that, especially right now, if you search on any search engine, Google, Yahoo, whatever, and then you type on discrimination or types of discrimination, you definitely find a long list of types of discrimination. You will also find a long list of references, experiences for those who have gone through such in different pointers as well. So going back to what I said earlier, it is very complex because we have, just like how you have in every industry, you have different departments. You have gender discrimination, you have race discrimination, you have political discrimination, you have economic discrimination, you have ethnic discrimination, you have sexual discrimination, you have workplace, religious, labor, and so forth. It's an endless list. So instead of me to talk on the specific types of discrimination, or instead of me to start defining it, even though the previous speaker already talked precisely on one of it, I'm going to try and see how I can, extract all our attentions to the generality of the word discrimination itself. And using this opportunity to bring all our focus, channel all our energy on the main issue or the main purpose of why we're having this event today. That is what we all can do, be it an individual, be it a collective group, be it a government officials, and be it corporate organizations. What we all can do to make sure we take this virus, this discrimination, this cancer, to make sure we see to the end of it, and every mankind can be treated with dignity. So let me start with the truth, which most of the time, a lot of people don't like to hear that. The truth is that if any one of us have never been a victim of being discriminated against, you may never comprehend the hurt, the damages, the emotional trauma it can actually cause a victim when you go through being discriminated against. So we may all talk about it, but if you have not gone through it, you may actually not understand what it actually, or how much damages it can actually do to a person. And so even though you may not have been a victim, or you may have been a victim, the point of this collective event is that, just like the saying goes, every little thing counts. And so we want to see today how we all can put hands together, come together, and be able to see what we can do individually, collectively, in order for us to be able to see to the end of, discrimination. Again, I'm going to refer back to the previous speaker, talking about, it's very unfortunate that most of the advanced countries, even here in the United States that I'm in now, it's a whole lot of battle, you know. Of course, there are a lot of laws, there are a lot of constitutional, there are a lot of policies that are in place, you know, to check and balance this kind of behavior. But it's very sad and very disgraceful, you know, when you still have to go through that. So that means that is something that not only one person or one government can do. It has to be a collective effort. And so I'm going to start with, as an individual or as a group, just like we have now, what we can do for us to be able to see how we can put in a little bit of our own contribution to take away this virus, discrimination. One of the things that my speech is going to highlight is our participation in an event, an international event that discusses or center on such topic as this. That is one step. And that is why earlier on I said, I'm going to be so appreciative. I'm very grateful for an event like this, because then it brings together a like-minded people for them to reason, come together, you know, and see what they can do, share idea, interchange with suggestions, and see what we can all contribute so that we can see how we can move forward and pass this kind of, you know, disasters. Another thing we can also do is, again, like the first speaker said, trying to get well educated. Of course, you don't have to go to school. When you talk about education, most people think you have to have a degree, you have to go through this, you have to, you know, go through a lot of schools, be it online schools or model schools. No. Getting informed entails having little understanding of what laws, policies are in place, and also being able to know who are the people who are sharing the same mindset with you. That is one way we can get ourselves informed. And it's bringing me back again to the first step I highlighted earlier, which is participating in events like these. And I'm pretty sure the United Nations also have a lot of events like this that they organize through the UNHCR and other NGOs, organizations that are under the United Nations, which is also called ECOSOC. And my speech today is coming from someone who is a global diplomat and also an industry leader. So what I'm trying to do right here is I'm going to try as much as possible to also direct most of these to myself and put myself, you know, in the shoes of everyone, be it a victim or non-victim. Now, we've talked about the first and the second step. Again, the first step is participating in events like this, meeting new people that share the same mindset with you. While the second step I talked about is getting well informed. You don't have to be educated. You don't have to, you don't have to be a graduate when we talk about getting well informed. There are ways you can get informed, knowing the right source of information, knowing the right people you meet, and also, you know, getting yourself acquainted with the right policy that is in place, be it for your protection or for anyone's protection. Now, the third step I'm going to talk about is you may not have been a victim, but for someone who has been a victim and you know this person, this individual, you can be a support system. What I mean by support system is that when you know someone, you have a friend that has been discriminated against, it is conscionable that not only do you offer a moral support, again, I said, the damages is a lot. We can't tell until we go through it. But trying to help this person as well to move past the damages, the hurt that this discrimination has really caused. And the way we can do this is broad, which I may not have the time to be able to analyze it. But Inviting, for instance, inviting the person or the individual or the group to an event like this helps. It makes the person see that he or she is not only in the fight alone, but he has all the support, all the people like an army that are also trying to help, to make our world a better place, an equal system for everyone. And the other step that we can also take is helping this individual to focus their energy in their individual strength. That is another way you can be a support system. Now, talking about being an individual or being the victim, what about as a corporate organization? What can we do? Most countries that I've known, that I've also been privileged, to see their internal operation. A lot of them, especially the developing world, don't really take this topic very seriously when it comes to their policies, how the organization is structured, because it has to do with the nonchalant attitude of the respective government. And so we're going to come back to that. But first of all, if you are an organization or corporate leader here in this event, let me not waste time and jump right straight to the step of what you can start doing right now from this very moment, the very moment you get off this program, what you can do to start making your organization well conducive for every of your employees and everyone who works with you. You can start by becoming familiar with the applicable anti-discrimination policy or laws in your local area. That is the first step. Try and find out, liaise with the government, what is there in place that the government has put in terms of anti-discrimination laws. The second step is try, even though they may not be, try and develop your own comprehensive anti-discrimination policy and methods of implementation of that policy. And when you do that, the third step is you create and institute into your organization a mandatory anti-discrimination and training programs. Now, these programs, you want to elevate it to an advanced training when it comes to the leadership, like the supervisors, the managers, the executives. The reason is because this one has to lead by examples. And now bringing us to the fourth step you can do. You want to be ready while you set up all the policies, you set up the ways of implementing them, and you set up the training. You also want to be very ready, put in place people that are capable to investigate any report or complaint of discrimination or harassment. Because when you have a policy in place, you set up a training, you put people in place, but you're not ready to effect it in terms of when an employee make a complaint, you're not ready to investigate, you don't take it promptly. It jeopardizes every other steps that you have taken previously. And so you don't want that to happen. So either you, your organization, because the blowback effect is dangerous, not only for the organizations, but for everyone, be you employer and the employees as well. Now it's going to bring me now to the government. If you are a government official, and in case we don't have any right here, but we know that our government in our respective country, because I see a lot of people from different parts of the world here, you realize that there has never been any impact felt by my government in terms of this topic, discrimination. Well, you can start right now trying to participate in getting yourself engaged, finding out what the government has put in place, and if they have not, you can start by introducing these steps I'm about to talk about. Now, because this is very broad, so I'm going to mention just two strategies that the government can enact and enforce when it comes to anti-discrimination. The first is a preemptive strategies. A preemptive strategies is a way that the government can use or utilize effectively to create a robust campaign. And this campaign has to do with making appeals to the public and also putting in place and influencing steps in order to induce compliance. So we want to take note if the government has this in place, and if not, we can suggest and start taking our own little steps in order to make sure that this starts to occur. And the second step, which is the second strategies that the government can take, is a reactive strategies. Now, it's a different thing when you make a campaign, marketing, promotions. It's another thing in terms of enforcement. So the reactive strategies is a way the government can enforce actually whatever laws or whatever promises or policies they have in place. And so this is kind of like what I call a fire alarm or a police patrol model of policy enforcement. And that is the strategy that the government actually can use or utilize to litigate a potential discriminator. Also, this is also a strategy the government can also use in terms of observing any report of discrimination and make an appropriate report or properly or timely records of any complaint or reports of any organization, individual, or groups that are being complained of or that are discriminated, so to speak. So I must say right here that even though the government can take these two steps, maybe like I'll say as a startup, you know, to start seeing what they can do in terms of being able to help and ease the effect of being discriminated against or the public being discriminated against because of whatever they may be, or whatever their religion, or whatever their race, or whatever their gender, or whatever their excuses may be. The note here is that the multiple effect of discrimination is very broad. And so as a government officials, or as everyone generally here, we have to also understand that this has to be a collective effort within the government system. So you cannot expect just one department or one parastatals or one ministry in the government or government institution to only be the one in charge of taking care of this. So it has to be, because it's a broad effect when it talks about discrimination. So it has to be a collective work within the government itself. Conclusively, when we are talking about this, and especially on this event that we are commemorating this 2020 United Nations International Day of Zero Discrimination, my encouragement for everyone, government, individual, collective group, industrial organizations, leaders, executives, is that may we all resolve to collectively bring an end to the great pains, suffering that discrimination can cause. And let us all, just like the UNHCR said, reaffirm our faith in fundamental human rights and dignity and work of the human person, so we all can enjoy the benefit of being a human. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timothy. That was very insightful, Sam Timothy. Thank you very, very, very much. You know, he has said it all. He has said so much. In fact, I had to start putting down so much points. From what he said, he spoke about individuals that our little contribution would be participating in an event that solicits on these kind of issues and get educated on matters concerning this disgraceful act, get informed about these policies, the policies are in place of this kind of act. He also said try help the individuals who has been a victim of such an act. He said so much, and I'm very sure we all have our questions at hand at the moment. So please keep dropping your questions in the chat box, because we have our third speaker getting ready for her own part of the speech too. So we know we have a lot of questions, but please permit the third speaker to speak as we call on the third speaker from Sudan, Dr. Nahal Suleman. Do we have you here, ma'am? Dr. Nahal Suleman.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, but we don't.
Okay.
We don't see your video. Can you share your video with us, please?
Yes. Yeah. It will not be possible for me to show the videos. The network signal. That.
Okay. Thank you. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry for that. Yes. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this event, international events, as a United Nations Day for Zero Discrimination. Thanks to all participants. Welcome my colleague speakers. I'm really very happy to join this day. As you know, that the zero discrimination, it is the end of inequality. And as in the history of the world, before the impact of occupancy on the countries has a great outcomes for discrimination. One part of the country was developed, the other part wasn't developed. Has a great impact, and automatically it was affect the human needs, which is the major part. Start from health issues, from daily life needs in their activities, and all in all, as a human being. As to add to my colleagues, Shauli and Mr. David, I will add to what they talk. If we use two words, the accreditation and the quality, which means we do things right, I think we will have the outcomes that every area or everybody as a human being will be equal. So the international labor organizations, they have to reinforce their following in each part of the organizations for work in the world. And as Mr. David mentioned, the investigation report, that should be the must. To add to the healthcare setting, there is inequality in healthcare setting. People, they don't have money to come and pay for their treatment in an emergency room. So for that, all over should be free. Emergency should be free. Even some other basic life for the mothers, the antenatal care, they missing the information for the awareness. They will go to the clinic the first visit in the first month. They will miss or omit 4 or 5 months, and then when they come to delivery times, it is became an emergency with the critical situations. Plus, to come to the nutritional part, people are hungry inside their home. Why? Because they don't have an access to go and buy. Today, the items with price, after 1 hour with extra price, after 2 days with a huge price. This is happened due to the economical inflation. This has a serious impact on the nation. I can tell you, nation or a human being are hungry while they are staying at their home because they have money, yes, but they cannot buy the items because there is high inflation. 2,000 times the prices within no time. you come to the part of the water access, the water access has a huge problem. They could not find water to drink. This situation happened not only because of the war or there is a disaster or they have become refugees. No, the system itself, it doesn't work properly to get their water in time. They have all the connection at house, but the water system it will not be on more or than 4 hours per day. How they can manage? All these factors it really affect. So the discrimination is the end inequality. We came to the part of the education. There is a huge, especially that some areas with an access for education is still I can tell you there is some areas in schools they don't have a seat to sit on. They don't have a roof. They are studying under the trees with one teacher teaching all the topic, English or Arabic, whatever the other subject for science is. One teacher to teach all the topic for one class, maybe sometimes for grade 1 up to grade 8. So all this really affects the mental status of those students, how we can expect them to be the innovative generation. We don't have a problem with the quality of the education from the teacher, yes, because teachers are love to teach. But for them, they have to have a change because sometimes different topic in the classes when they have, for example, one day at a week for uh, fun hours or like innovating hour for the culture or for to listen to the music or to have a talk to start to learn how you can talk. They can comment it. They will be like monitoring the school, they're monitoring the teaching or the teacher how they teach, even the same like their parents. They know, okay, my mom told me this today, tomorrow she changed her mind. So all this is building their personality. So when this not in place, definitely discrimination will happen. If we come to the time of the even the inside the hospital for the treatment, like for example, the real situation now with the COVID-19. COVID-19, when it happened, no one had studied it in the books. We all learn from the moment we have. The major issue became with the vaccination. Have a first wave, we have a second wave, fourth wave, even now, maybe expected fifth wave. But why it happens? Inequality of vaccination, inequality of distribution of the medication, inequality of even the supplies, the PPEs. How you didn't supply the PPEs as a protective for the healthcare workers, and they want them to be inside the viral load area. We manage to be in the viral load area because we do love to do the humanity work to take care of others. But in fact, it is not fair. It is discrimination. Some countries they have, some countries they don't have. The money issues, as I'm add my voice to Mr. David for the governments. Government should be monitored. Government should be monitored directly from the United Nations. Leaders, politicians should be monitored directly from the United Nations. Like now, I feel sorry for the Kenyan. Is this the world we want? Is this the life we want? To wake up early morning, 5 o'clock, to find there is a disaster announcing that you have evacuate and to leave your area and your house? What is this world? I'm not a politician to speak about Putin or Moscow or Russia, but I use the same situation. No one will like to be in that situation. It is totally violation. It is a huge violation. It is a huge discrimination. Why not other states of the country, only one state? So all these issues will come. Like now, our situation in Sudan, we do have a problem with the COP. After 25th day, the military is changing the statement of the document that after revolution. So Now we are in big troubles. We have like a paralysis for all plans that we have to follow after revolution. Now we have protesters on the street. They are students in the college. They are workers in the organizations. So all this, it will affect the life. So I do add, and I do request from the United Nations that, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, there's a background noise, but we do hear you.
I
Hello?
can hear you.
Go
Hello?
ahead, please. We can hear you, Dr. Nanella. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah, I just have 1 minute to finish my talk. What I do recommend on the International or United Nations Discrimination Day, that they know United Nations to monitor directly all the government's leaders and politicians in the world to maintain safety and mission. Hello?
Yes, we
Hello?
hear you.
And to add, thank you, Mr. Andrew, and to add the quality and accreditation in each part of our daily life activities will maintain the inequality, sorry, they will zero the discrimination. That means we will have equity and peace. Thank you for the opportunity and welcome for any questions.
Thank you again, Dr. Nalia. Thank you very much. As we have rightly heard her, she spoke about the healthcare system that should be looked into when it comes to discrimination, the school system as well, where a teacher has to take almost all the grades in schools, and that the United Nations should look into all these cases when it comes to the government, the politics, and the rest of them. So right now we'll be going into the questions and answers. Please would like to everyone to drop their questions in the chat box or indicate when you have a question for our speakers in the house. Do we have any questions? We're waiting for the questions in. Okay. Any questions for our speakers before we move on?
Thank you, Chaplain Josephine. If you have any question, let them drop that in the box. And most so we be using this medium to invite His Royal Highness, Dr. Yewande, to come on board and introduce to us his students for the healthcare workers. His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr., today you are meeting with some other members of WHOPE that have been just satisfied to be on board with us working as health workers. And Dr. Yewande has adequately interviewed them. She's introducing them to the house today for us to know them better. So I think it's over to you, Dr. Yewande. We have to hear you now. And for Ambassador Andrew to know more about the project, you can explain briefly the healthcare project we are embarking on, and you introduce the staff to us. So thank you so much for having you on board, Dr. Yewande.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you clearly. Greetings.
Yes, yes. So I normally say things, from heart, people who know me, but so there will be, no, it's not like I saw you, that's why I called your name or your tribe. This is a blinded study. I chose 20 subjects based on how they submitted. However, I must declare all my conflict of interest, so that if they say it's because she's from this place, yes, it's because I'm from that place, got the tongue. So I must say, I am Dr. Yewande Okunono-Oyekeno, born in the Nigerian Army Hospital, That's with what we call Nigerian Military Hospital, Yaba, Lagos. 1981, I was baited by a military nurse and passed over to a military doctor, handed over to my, you hand over the child to the mother first. My mother is a nurse and she worked for the Nigerian Navy as a civilian nurse. So she knows whether it's a child or not. And then when she inspected it, she handed it over to my father, who's a retired captain from the Nigerian Army School of Music. So when you see me singing Ave Maria, I'm only using you to practice. I might be the one singing on my father's burial. In the Yoruba land, that's what we look forward to. We don't pray for our children to go before us. When our father dies, we have a big party because you are the next king. So I am the little one trained by Nigerian Army. After being born in Lagos, for 1 year, I was taken to the barrack, the place where the soldiers stay is called barrack. So don't call me a barracks child. I might, give you a slap. I'm from cantonment where the officers stay. So after when I got to Igbo land, they are not sure whether I'm a bastard, excuse my French. So they gave me snake to eat, and it's constricted my lungs, so I don't breathe very well. So the first food I ate was a snake in my neighbor's house in Igbo. So when they say, who is your teacher, Nigerian Army? Who be your papa? You know my papa. Slap me first, now I go hear story. Then you find out I'm General Diaz's daughter. Anybody, all our Pekins speaking, beat a soldier Peking, you're in trouble. So when they raid your market, don't be offended. So those are my conflict of interest. And at the age of 5, I was handed over back to Lagos because my father was transferred again. So he trained at University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and that's why I represent Nigeria. So I am the perfect. So this is just my age up to 5. If you want to know more, go and buy Life of a Scientist. But I must say at the age of 10, I used to miss my dad. And we used to write letters to him. Our mother was our teacher. So we are going to write a book, All Teachers, My Mother, My Teacher. If you give your child an assignment, they start crying. My teacher is going to beat me if I don't get it. But your mother doesn't know what to write because our mothers are not trained. So I started reading medical books off the shelf at the age of 8. Where did I get the shelf in my house? When my mom comes from the hospital, she says, what happens? So my mother, my teacher, we are all going to put this together. Can somebody, Josephine, put that down? My PA is not here. I don't want to declare my PA, so you don't give him or her a bribe. So we are all going to work together. And at the age of 10, after reading medical books for 2 years, from age 8 to age 10, I got to Kaduna during the religious war in 1991. I was 10 years old, and the first place I went to was my mom fly with me from Lagos to Kaduna. So she handed me to a general who is my father, superior. So when I got there, I lost my dad. My dad had just left the airport. We missed ourselves. So the general, they know themselves. He just took me. They say her dad is at the airport. He said, well, I dropped her with the neighbor. And the only person he trusts is an Hausa man. And they all started looking at me because I look like Hausa. I've never been there. But it feels as if I've been there before because they all look like me. And they ask, what's your name? I say, Yewande. They say, is that, what day were you born? I said, I was born on a Wednesday. That means you're Laraba. It's okay. And for 1 year, I was Laraba. And then after living for 1 year, I couldn't stay because of the dust. So that's why throughout the COVID, people saw me writing, they didn't understand because I cannot go out because of the COVID. It constricts the lungs. So because of the snake I ate in Enugu, it has affected my lungs. And by the time I come back from Kaduna, I don't know about the dust, but people that were asthmatic used to give me their inhaler. So when I got to Lagos, they used to give me inhaler, but it was when prescribed if I have it. Because of all the tear gas and the petrol fumes and everything, it made my constriction worse. And now when I got to England for PhD about 20 years after, I cannot breathe properly. So Black people cannot breathe, and that's why we are doing all these races are coming together. However, by the time I got to Lagos and from Lagos to Enugu, my name is Yewande. By the time I came back from Enugu, I said my name is Yawande, and my teacher kept plugging me, but that's what they told me. My teachers in Igbo said my name is Yawande until I went to the palace and they said you cannot be speaking Igbo here. And then one of my friends beat me up because I called him Onyoshi. Onyoshi means thief because he stole my mate, but they didn't believe me because when I called them Onyoshi, they kept beating me. Don't call me Onyoshi. He's calling me Oloshi. I said, I don't know what is Oloshi. And then at the end of the day, I went to Kaduna. I was more comfortable. And I sent, there was a religious war. When people say bridal showers, they don't know the meaning. Bridal showers mean babies are falling. It's a metaphor, but it's real. Children, people were running. I wanted to join the cadets, but I was too small because the size of my boot was not available. But because my father was a captain, they were still watching me. So if you see somebody is appointed as a president in your country, he's been worse since he was born. I was baited by the army. I will never disrespect my parents, whether Navy, my mom, and the army, you know. And then now my daughter has been admitted at Ego State University. The NASA has approved their spacecraft. She's 16 years old and she's going to drive her first spacecraft. I am a neuroscientist and I will stay beside her in case there's an accident. If the plane crashes, I will repair the brain. I do brain repair. However, I will be teaching Yoruba language for healthcare workers so that when I say akarati to say, that means there's an accident on the highway. When I say, go get me akara, go to the mortuary, go and see whether you can still see some brains that are still alive. So any brain I give you, whether make you collect like that brain. So I will greet you all. Thank you. I will be teaching Yoruba language for healthcare workers. If you want to learn Hausa, I know they collect money for Hausa. Now, Yoruba name, so I got a scholarship, 4.1 million naira, to come and serve Nigeria for 1 year. So if you see me in Lagos, no vex, I can decide to go to Calabar. 1 year is 1 year. I don't know Lagos State. So you people will share that Lagos, go and miss Fashola. I serve Lagos because I send a bond. Whether you will rename your country Lagos State, I don't care, but I sign it, not Nigeria. So 4.1 million is just 1% of my money. It cost a neuroscientist 100 million naira to train abroad. And now my daughter is going for scholarship. So if you want me to teach you, you all can pay 1 million naira to work because it costs 100 million to train another aerospace engineer. So why will my daughter come back and serve a country and be digging petrol or selling petrol at the end? We are going to Mars. There are some new elements there. I want to check whether it will be used for cancer. Now go there. If you hear your name has been selected, Arabic, English, Dr. Nahal Suleman, and we put that Josephine. So I have 20 slots. So today is our speech and prize giving day. When we say end of session, the teachers have already picked the prize before July. So New Yam Festival, the students will come for their scholarships. So can we start Arabic, English, Dr. Nahal Suleman, the teacher for Arabic, English, she got 270 out of 300 in a United States exam. That's where they learn Arabic, Nigeria. So we will have another Arabic Hausa because the people in Hausa region might not understand English. So if you write an Arabic English book, they will not get it. So if we know Garba is the president for the Hausa youth. He's one Arabic Hausa. That his logo will be at the back of the book. And for Dr. Nahal Suleman, her logo will be at the back of Arabic English. Yoruba Arabic, of course, my uncle, who is those that know him, he's into health insurance. However, when I was working for ICO Insurance, they said, why are you not working for your uncle? You are a spy. I said, no, if my uncle train me, I will not train me. So when you see me, where I can't collect check for Alab and I get money plenty. So Arabic, Yoruba, I trust my uncle because I've written the Yoruba and my uncle trained in Hausa. So my uncle can write Arabic. So that if you say you want to insure your life, write it, let me see. So in case my client die, it's proof of life. We know the signature. That's Arabic. Now, next phase, we'll be looking at His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr. I might not be getting it because I'm going with my list. So 20 slots, be counting it. If your subject is not there, go and pay 2 million. His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr., we thank you so much. And he will be sponsoring other languages, but for now, we give him Ghana Igbo. So you can select any other Africans, but the subjects that are suffering are Igbo and Swahili, and you can pick other subjects. Dr. Tego, whenever I'm in the research, he takes my daughter out. I trusted him because while I'm busy with the rats, He ring a bell, 1, ring a bell, 2, ring a bell, 3. He had to ring the bell 3 times until the rat go deaf. When the rat go deaf, he's then he go and repair the ear. And then my father came from Lagos and found him and said, I want you to marry my daughter. I said, I beg your pardon. I'm older than him with 6 years. My father said, I will tell you your age. And then he said, who is your father? And he said, Ghanaian. And my father said, who is your father? I said, Nigerian Army. And my father said, we signed a bond. WAEC, we are going to cancel it. I'm sorry to say, if your child cannot pass WAEC in Nigerian language, maybe the child wrote WAEC in English. That's why they failed. No, the new WAEC, we'll give you this year and see it as a probation. If I say WAEC is cancelled, it's cancelled. My daughter used a Cambridge and she got an A star. So I don't know what she's going to get. That's why I'm saying it's cancelled, because I don't want my daughter to get straight distinction in WAEC because we will review WAEC. So Dr. Tego is for Ghana. And then when we are here, when they are playing football, Nigeria, Ghana will be the one to cook. What are we eating? Jollof rice. If you win, we go cook Ghana. When we chop, I go tell you whether Ghana or Nigeria. So we can't poison ourselves. Why will we chase Ghanaian out of our country? So Dr. Tego and I, we are going to be acting a movie. Captain Adediwura will sharpen our sword. So when we first get to United Kingdom, they train us to sharpen our sword. Why? This is neuroscience. I hope there's no child here. So we are going to cut off the head of a rat. The rat is our brother. But the white people, they cut off the head of, I will not tell you that. What is their brother? So we are animals. We start from rats. So that if there's any problem and a rat wants to die, he collect the blame from me. So if you ring the bell too hard, and that's why the ear is paining him, I will not recommend this for anybody. If you need your treatment, go to University of Ghana. He got his PhD at 26. And they say, why are you just coming? I said, I was busy having my baby, taking care of her. They say, oh, that's your baby. And then they found that now that postgraduate party, she goes with us. So somebody should sponsor aerospace engineering, conflict of interest. I cannot sponsor my daughter. I've sharpened her sword enough. And then she said, I want to study astronomy. So she got her first astronomy prize at the age of 9. You don't need to sponsor her. She knows how to take care of herself. But if you're interested in putting your logo on her spacecraft, go see them. It's San Diego State University. So they don't say it's got Nigerian money. No, you know, I am not poor. God will take care of us. I'm a widow, but I know how to take care of my child. This is a lesson for us that whether you're a widow, you are married, you're a single mother, it doesn't matter. A man is only there to assist you and to love you. It's not for you to be squeezing his money away. My husband supported me. He didn't have the money, but my parents and my husband and everybody. But I know one thing, he paid for my master's, and we met at school. This is a lesson for us all. Now the international subjects, those are the West African ones, and the major one, the most interesting subject, I've been invited with me. I've made a class for my Robo people. We have Robo Nigerian English. Dr. Dafe in Baltimore, United States, will be teaching us Robo. And the other man, the salesman, will be doing Nigerian English. But me, I know you're Robo. But they no go call me Paya. Then someone comes so that face. If anything happens to me, I'm going to Robo with my doctor. And when we had the exam then in Ogun State University, you know, they hear Yoruba. So they say, where is this? In Aturashe, is it swimming? We have medical exam, Dafe is swimming. If Dafe doesn't swim, he can't write the exam. Now, a Robo boy. But they didn't understand him. And they used to fail him there, because he couldn't speak, he couldn't, and the only thing when he's sad, he goes to swim. So when we go to swim in Ogun State University, we swim with our lecturers because we are all one. They are neither male officers. I have called the subjects for Nigeria, and I think that's how we can have it for now. For the international subjects, please, can we give our hand together for the Brazilian Portuguese team? I said that Black people were used in this research. They say you are not Black. I said, what am I? They say you are a Negro. I said, I'm not a Negro, I am Black. They said, who told you so? They say, okay, which tribe are you? I said, Yoruba. They say, Yoruba is not a tribe, it's a religion. Gloria, can you please turn your camera on? Who is controlling? Gloria Mora, you have to see, that's my best translator. So we are going to have Portuguese Yoruba. There she is. Gloria, hold on. Yeah, we will all hear from her very soon. However, Gloria is going to do Brazilian Portuguese. We are still researching from Ministry of Health, because when I say 10 Brazilians were used for the research and 10 African from Senegalese, that's how we describe people. You don't say somebody is Black. my clothes, anything can be black. You don't know, maybe it's shoe they call black. So therefore, we will write our books. 3 Negro people went to a party and only 1 returned. So when they call you a nigger, you don't go fighting. They're only protecting you. Nigger means black in America and Negro. So we have in between, wherever in Yoruba is Dudu. So those are the things. So Brazilian Portuguese, that's the manager. So for Brazil, because we have to start from racism. Number 1 on the international team, Brazilian Portuguese plus English, number 1. Number 2, Turkish and English. Please, Josephine notes that. Number 3, Brazilian Portuguese Yoruba, because there are some Yoruba people, they cannot speak in English, but they were taken for slave trade. The Kutano people area, we have Yoruba French. We have we have Spanish Urobo Pidgin, so that when they go out and call somebody, they will get a slap and say you decrease. So we have another one, Hindi. Now the people from the 8 hours ahead of us, we are the Hindi people. We have Hindi German. I will not tell you my translator, so you know, go and bribe them. So who is representing? Can somebody? There's a here with us, Dr. Patriba, so that when they write rubbish and you inspect it, can Dr. Patriba show her face, please, or unmute herself? Is she still with us? Hello? So for that side, we have Hindi German, we have Arabic French, we have Chinese English, Filipino, Bengali English, Korean Japanese. When I call them, yes, our Filipino is there. Yeah, Christine. Our Chinese teacher, Chinese means that you speak in English, but he will be teaching you Chinese. That means Chinese like go, come, little one. That's why I wanted somebody that would check on them. So Dr. Patriba would check, because I don't read Chinese. I don't want rubbish, and she would verify it. There is somebody for Bengali, where Ujani Josh, we are recognizing them that the languages are about to, be extinct. Ujani Josh. Yeah, Ujani Josh is going to be doing the Yoruba movie will be done by the Nigerian. We do Rivers of Africa. Begani Josh is an actress. She'll be doing the Bollywood version. So Dr. His Royal Highness Andrew Williams, will have it on Facebook. Hopefully the children can watch Nigeria versus Bollywood. Or it's not Nollywood, because there are different type of films here. And we have Korean Japanese. He's not a doctor, so somebody will write it and pass it to them over there. We have Italian German. He's the head of principal other school. When I say 20, I want to know whether you are counting. So if you hear extra number, that means you're lucky. And then the Turkish English version, which I said will be sponsored by a pharmaceutical company, because that's where most of our drugs are made. I think that's basically it. So we have somebody that is going to be teaching Spanish, French, and English. Spanish, Italian, French. We have someone that can combine all the 7 subjects in European language. So now go day.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yuwande. I think others have to understand what we are really doing here, and why have we come to this level. That is where I expected you to start, because we have Sir Timothy in the house, we have Suleiman, we have Ambassador Andrew, and some other guests that are here with us. For them to quickly or easily understand what we are saying or putting across, or why do we have them on board, I think you want to briefly in 1 minute explain why are we beckoning on them, about the healthcare workers. What are research? What are we trying to bring on board? What are the problems we're trying to solve, bringing them on board? Just explain briefly, Dr. Yuwande.
Okay, yes, it's we started this year with education, and we're going this year with education. So we are going to be sharpening the teachers first, but that's where the problem is. have more than that to say. And then during the summer camp, before the children go on the plane, we'll be going to embassies to welcome them. Did you get a visa? Okay, here's a card. Where are you going to Brazil? When you get to Brazil, go to so our teachers will be the one welcoming them at the airport, so they don't, find themselves. So if your student did not arrive, then something has gone wrong. Because many students get on the plane, instead of going straight to British, I don't know what is Istanbul. You got a visa to go to London, you are looking for Istanbul, cheap flights, but you told us you have money in your visa. So these are funny things that happen. So please, let's, so our teachers will be standing in as international representatives and making sure the students are okay. That's why we're starting this project, and then hopefully later we can add other languages. But these are the major places where our children find themselves for studies abroad, or their students come to Africa for. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. All we're doing here is to promote peace and equity, for us to understand ourselves better, because we are all human and we have to respect ourselves. So, Ambassador Andrew, you're raising your hand. Please, you are free to talk, please.
Well, thank you. Just to give appreciation for the people that are here, if there is anyone here that has not been introduced, perhaps that will be a good time for us to know who's here, and then we can proceed. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Ambassador Andrew. So I think now, Dr. Yuande, you have to call them one after the other. And what they do is to unmute themselves on their camera. We want to see their faces, and one after the other, they tell us who they are, the names, where they're from, and why they're here. So thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm in the participants room now, and then I'll start from myself. Yewande Okunora Oyekeno, Yoruba language teacher. There is a Joseph Akinola, I think is the WHOPE Nigeria team.
Yes,
we have Christine. We have Christine. Okay, we have Christine Aguinaldo. She's the Filipino teacher. She will be teaching English and Filipino. I know my teachers. I'm just trying to find. I hope they use the right name so I don't miss anybody.
Let her come on board. Let her come on board and unmute herself and introduce herself.
Yeah, Christine Aguinaldo, Filipino teacher, Filipino and English. Christine.
Hi.
Say hello, please. I say hello in your language. Say hello in Filipino, the language you'll be teaching. This is your final test. This is the board of directors meeting.
Ang pangalan ko po ay si Christine Aguinaldo mula po sa Pilipinas. So isa po akong Filipino teacher. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. So it means good evening everyone.
All right, thank you. You have just said your language, thank you. But now say it in English.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank everyone. It's really a great honor for me. So I am Christine Aguinaldo from Philippines. I am a licensed professional teacher. And right now, it's really a great honor for me to be part of the global educational program of WHOPE as a Filipino and English language teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, welcome.
Can we have Gloria? Gloria, can you speak on behalf of the Brazilian Portuguese team? So those are two people from Brazil. Gloria herself, the manager, Gabriela, and Elian is in Colombia. So Gabriela is not here. Gloria, can you speak on behalf of the Brazil, South America region, please? In Brazilian Portuguese. Gloria, can somebody unmute Gloria, please?
First of all, I want to thank you for this huge opportunity. I'm here with the heart an emotional heart, excited heart for being here among you, human beings that share actions and this mentality that wants to promote a discriminatory and anti-discrimination mentality. Boa tarde. Boa tarde do Brasil. It's a huge pleasure to being part of this team, the South American team with Dr. Yewande. It's a huge pleasure because I am really interested in scientific dissemination and about this data quality of our informations. And I think it's really important to us for this day that is about and it seems to be very important for us to think about data quality of our information a lot, and I apologize myself for my and I really appreciate for being here. Thank you, Dr. Yewande.
Yeah, can you say it in Brazilian Portuguese, please, because you are the manager. So Brazilian Portuguese and a bit of Spanish. So the person in Colombia is the marketing manager, is going to be selling all the subjects for the Yoruba, Brazilian Portuguese, the Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, English, and Brazilian Portuguese, French, Brazilian Portuguese, Italian. So we have 5 products and will be sold by Colombia. So just speak 2 languages out of that, and you can just end it in Yoruba. Can somebody unmute Gloria, please, so she can give us, because that's our major market.
She can unmute herself.
Yeah, Gloria, unmute yourself, Gloria, please. As manager of South America, yeah.
Yes, so here in Brazil, here in South America team, we have Eliane and Gabriela too. I invited them to be here with us, but I don't think they're here. But we are doing a great job about this translation, and actually, I am preparing the review of the translation in Portuguese and in Spanish too. And I said this morning to Dr. Yewande that I am already doing data quality of the information, and I'm going here in Brazil. We are in the middle of the carnival, so everything is closed, but as soon as it is done, I will go to the Ministry of Health here in Brazil, and I will hear from them. I will show these products and show the benefits for all, and I will go to the social movements, the men's social movements, and I want to hear from them, so we can here in South America be really prepared to be with the most appropriate products, and we are focused on this health education with the STEAM things that subjects that are really important for our kids and our teenagers to emphasize them what's the benefits for being researchers for themselves. And we're going to emphasize in our course the I'm sorry, the dogs are emotional here. Sorry.
Over to you, Dr. Yewande.
Yeah, that was our, global marketing strategies. We will not say too much. Our PA is Gabriela and my PA is Gabriela. So here we have Hong Wang. That's his Chinese name. His English name is Zach. Unmute yourself, please, Hong. He's going to be teaching English as a first language and then Chinese as a second language. So if you're Yoruba, you want to hear Chinese, you must first hear is English. Otherwise, you come to me, I train you in Yoruba. If you say, this is your tone, sorry. So when I finish with you, tell you English, Yoruba, then you go and meet him, you know English, but they will teach you Chinese. So over to you, Hong.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Hong Yu. You can call me Zach. I've been teaching adult for Chinese language for 4 years in a university setting. So I'm very pleased to be part of member in the future to work with you. Yeah, it's my first time to work with medical group. Usually I just teach more like academy or basic intermediate level Chinese, but it's my first time to work with medical organization. So I am very excited about this opportunity. Yeah, so nice to meet you, everyone.
Yeah, hi Zach. Can you say it in Chinese, like your Chinese translation for what we've just said? So if we play back on Facebook, we can be sure, it's the proper translation. Just promote your product.
Okay.
Chinese people are watching.
OK， 大家好，我是洪玉，非常高兴可以跟大家一起工作我之前的工作经验是在大学工作4年，那未来希望可以就是多一些国际合作的经验，然后跟大家一起工作。I don't know if anyone here know about Chinese language, but
well, the important thing is that
everyone knows about it.
Our audience does, not just us here, but we're streaming on Facebook Live around the world. So the intent is for us to be as open as we can. So language, this platform is agnostic. It doesn't care what language you speak. Anyone that understands you will understand you. So thank you so very much. Yes, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. The participant list seems to be jumping around, so I'm, scrolling through again so I don't miss anybody. So I have here the Bollywood version director, myself, Otego. We are going to have Captain Adediwura for West Africa, who will cook jollof rice in the movie, and the children will tell us the best before we know whether jollof rice is from Ghana or Nigeria. So the Bollywood version will be by Ujwani Josh. She's an actress from, and she will be teaching the children Bengali. Another Indian teacher will be teaching Hindi and German. So Bengali and English. Can you speak, Ujwani, please? That's our movie director, Bollywood version of Captain Adediwura. Ujwani?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Ujjani from India. I will be teaching English and Bengali, and I will also be working as a movie director with Dr. Yewande. And I'm extremely grateful and privileged that I'm a part of this project. I'm a part of this team. And it feels really like today I'm feeling really, very, brightened at my heart that I am part of this cause. And thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for giving opportunity to people who are very, who are looking for good opportunities, and giving us young people a platform to showcase our skill and to be part of such a great cause. Thank you, everyone.
Can you say it in Bengali, please?
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. নমস্কার সবাইকে, আমি অত্যন্ত কৃতজ্ঞ এবং আমি সকলকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি যে আমাকে এরকম একটি প্ল্যাটফর্ম দেওয়া হলো, যেখানে আমি একজন অত্যন্ত নতুন এবং কম বয়সী একজন কর্মী, এবং আমি এরকম একটা জায়গায় কাজ করার সুযোগ পাচ্ছি, এরকম একটি এরকম একটা বড় কাজের জন্য। অ্যান্ড আমি অত্যন্ত ভালো লাগছে আমার, আমি খুবই আনন্দিত এবং আমি অত্যন্ত কৃতজ্ঞ। থ্যাংক ইউ, ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you very much, Ujwani. So that's our movie director, Hood, so if you hear my Indian name in Bollywood, don't be surprised that so this girl has been Indian all along. Thank you. That's my movie director.
Thank you so much.
Nigerian Gollywood. So we'll go over to the people that are not yet, Asude, she's the one that's done the Turkish translation. So we put together birthday card, which is in English and other subjects. So this month we are going to be launching all the 20 versions. So if you see the book out, your version is not there, please don't be offended. We're trying to save the races that are suffering first. We also have somebody from United States. She will be teaching Spanish and United States English, so that when the students get there, they've been trained in Nigeria for all their life, for 20 years, they got to America and got a 0, because when you spell color is different from how you spell it in United States. So she's going to be the one also hiring for talking to patients in the hospital, because I was on a plane one time, so tired, I just lost my husband, and on the plane I was crying, and they said, what do you want? I said paracetamol for 1 hour. And then it was somebody beside me who was from Canada, but also a Yoruba man. He was quiet all through, but he saw, he just a kilo share money or reform. He just called the hostess and said she needs a painkiller. So in medicine, the physiologists or other people, pharmacologists call it paracetamol, but in America it's called acetaminophen. But because they don't know the difference, an American does not know that paracetamol is an acetaminophen, so we call it painkiller, so that everybody in the world knows. What do you want? You want that? Don't go to the chemist and they say it's paracetamol. There's no paracetamol, it's painkiller. It's paracetamol can be for kata, if you understand what I mean. So don't go around reading books that you don't need to read. For those who call themselves chemists, so no offense, I'm still about chemists. I'm just trying to say I was taught a bitter lesson when I got to physiology, and I kept, drawing the structure. This is how they said we didn't ask you for structure. We said, what does it do? And I was looking. I learned that at UCH. So she will be teaching us how to spell. British English is from UK English. And for those that want to learn Arabic, maybe they can speak Hausa very well, and they go to mosque, but they can't write Arabic. We have our lady who got 270 out of 300 in American Arabic exams. So she will be teaching US English as well to those who understand Arabic, and then Arabic to those who are in America. We have from there's a region now. We have from here in Europe, United Kingdom English. I will be doing justice because I'm a member of the British Pharmacological Society. So if somebody goes to say acetaminophen and he gets a 0 and they say, who trained you? I say, it's me. They say, no wonder, she's a traitor. I told you that when we go to America, tell them acetaminophen. And when we get to England, you tell them it's paracetamol. So don't, I will be the one teaching the English to the doctors, and this other teachers will be teaching, just doing the translation, and I will do everything. So for English, for healthcare workers, I only teach health because that's my discipline. Then for Italy, we have is a head teacher in Germany. However, he's going to be teaching Italian because that's his mother tongue, and because he's the head teacher in Germany, he's going to watch every other teacher. So that's my head of studies. For the Yoruba, that will be teaching beginners. We have, she teaches them in US and Canada. She does beginners for children who are from Yoruba descent but can't speak their mother tongue. So she's going to be teaching them Yoruba language for beginners, and that's Ayomike. She also teaches children with learning disability, because if you can teach a little child Yoruba and they understand that, you can teach a child with learning disability when they're still young. We have somebody again who is in Switzerland, is going to be teaching our diplomats. He teaches in Spanish and English. However, he is on our kitchen and he's going to run the gym. So if you're a teacher and you are interested in yoga or gymnastics, because you need to prepare yourself, like me, I can sit for 20 hours and teach the whole world. I will not be tired. You don't know what kind of gym I do. So I don't want my teachers to poison me, no offense. So we have only one teacher that cooks for me, and that's the Italian. So he's he's Spanish. He's Spanish Italian. So he's going to be teaching English and Spanish to beginners. So there is also another person. We have somebody who is in charities and Orobo. So if we're having a pool party and you're about to faint, the Orobo will bring you out. It's going to be teaching Orobo Pidgin English. So when I say I want to do operation, I do. I say, what is the operation? I want to tear your belly. I want to bring him out. They will push the baby by force, because no woman wants anybody to tear their stomach. But many people, they told them, I want to do cesarean section. It's when they get home, they see the mark, they start screaming, and the pain is there for long. So you speak Robo, you speak in, Pidgin, so that's how you tell them. If you say child is dead, you tell them the pikin don't delete. So he's not here today, but he did his exam yesterday and passed. So he's going to be my assistant for the whole of Africa because of his Pidgin. He knows the difference between Sierra Leone and Pidgin. So if you talk to him, he'll tell you where you are from. So congratulations to all. I hope I didn't miss anybody. However, to make sure that these people, they are certified, we have doctors for each of these subjects. And I must say congratulations on you all. And at the end of 6 months, if you are interested in working in healthcare, we'll promote at the end of 6 months to medical translators, and they will be certified by their students, the doctors. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, Dr. Yewande, for this wonderful session you have just had. I want to categorically say this because of what Young said. WHOPE is World Humanitarian Organization for Peace and Equity. We promote peace, justice, fundamental human rights. We promote quality education and other rights. Now, the project on ground now is just a project to promote peace in the healthcare session between the doctors and the patient that does not understand themselves when they speak to themselves. So for us to help them out, that's why we're having you on board to help in teaching both the the doctors and others that may want to learn those languages for easier communication. So thank you so much. Before we go, as we have said earlier on, we would like to intercede for our brethren, our people. Do not forget today is zero discrimination. We don't have to discriminate our people in Ukraine and as well in Russia. Ambassador Andrew?
Yes, after your, I would like to make the closing remarks when you let me know it's time. Thank you.
Yes, you are the one to make the closing remark. Thank you so much. So we would like to intercede for our brethren in Ukraine and Russia. We all see the war going on there right now. Many lives are lost now. We are not happy about that. We condemn such war hats going on right now. So we have to intercede for them in prayers. We pray that God should intervene in such situation and matter, that it is God that can do such. And if care is not taken, it will just be aggravating. So I would like to call on Christian from, Filipino to say one or two things in prayers for our people, our other brethren in Ukraine and Russia, that the Lord should intervene in such war going on right now. However, you can say it in your language, in English, in your religion, however you can say it. Please, we would like to listen to you. Christian from Filipino. Is she here with us? Okay, if she's not here with us, please, the moderator, Chaplain Josephine, please, can you say one or two things in prayers for our brethren out there? Let's intercede in prayer for them. Just a minute, please.
Okay, so, dear Father, Lord, we pray this hour, and we pray for our country. They are humans like us, so regardless of the country they are, we pray that whatsoever issue that is going on around the world, we pray that there is peace and let every war be still in the name of Jesus Christ. And for the families that has lost their loved ones and the like, and everyone that concerns them, we pray that God Almighty, your infinite mercy, you will be their father and be their guide and hold them still till this day. And we pray that this war is stopped in the name of Jesus Christ.
Pastor, I believe it's back to you.
Please unmute yourself.
Sorry for that. Thank you so much. We pray and we commit them to the hands of God, both Ukraine and Russia, the leaders and the whole humanity in the countries. We commit them to the hands of God. And we believe God will hear our prayer over them and we answer our prayers. The war will cease and stop in the name of Jesus. So thank you so much for having your vote. It's over to you, His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr. for closing remarks.
Well, thank you all so very much. This is Andrew Williams Jr. And in the chat, I did put several references so that you can actually discover more about me. But even though I'm here in the United States, at 10 years old, my mother made it clear to me that I'm a global citizen. When I had the opportunity to learn Latin in 1973, they gave me the understanding, Dr. Yuma, that we are all important to be able to communicate and relate to each other, and particularly here in the United States, where the word discrimination so often is referred only to the color, but discrimination can also apply to those who have disabilities, such as myself, or those who have other cultural differences. All those things are what we have to address. I'm going to briefly share my screen with you now with the World Humanitarian Organization for Hope, for Peace and Equity, because it is in fact the reason why we're here. I was not pre-prepared for today's event, but I do look forward to committing myself to working with you, and in particular with Pastor James, to accomplish the mission that we're claiming that we want to do. When you go to our website, you'll see that we're localizing the Sustainable Development Goals for humanity. That is not just a random choice of words put together. They actually do have meaning. That's why I've made my commitment on behalf of Dr. James, not just right now, but years ago, to support his efforts in every way I can. So here you'll find, as I say, myself, Andrew Williams Jr., but for the team that's gathered here, I would like to ask you to consider becoming part and parcel of our effort to support you in a reciprocal manner. The idea is that each of you brings unique talent, skills, and abilities to the table. So Joseph Akinola, who is here with us also, is here at my invitation. We were introduced in 2020 through our relationship with the Saga Foundation. That's the Shola Agbula Goodwill Ambassador Foundation. And I'm also very pleased to let you know that Pastor James is, in fact, our international coordinator for the Saga Foundation. So in that regard, we're bringing together the talents and abilities of two organizations to work together. But more than two, I'm also president of the 5 Points Youth Foundation here in the United States, in Los Angeles, we're on the home of the Tongva indigenous people, right? But 5 Points Youth Foundation is a member of the United Nations Global Compact. We made that commitment in 2015, actually 2014, with a 5-year plan to focus at that time on caring for climate. Just yesterday, the United Nations released their report. There will be worldwide catastrophes as the adverse impact of climate change increases. Yes, we have wars and rumors of wars today and on a daily basis, but the earth on which we live in means that all of us have to take an all-in approach. So what I'm suggesting is that we make a commitment, those people on the phone on this call today, to first take human responsibility, the human right number 29, which is responsibility to be the change we want to see. So I can make a commitment on behalf of WHOPE, 5 Points Youth Foundation, and also AHIABGA. AHIABGA is the acronym for the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors, Activists, and Advocates. That was launched on the International Day of Peace in 2019. The intent was for us to have regional ambassadors that spoke multiple languages so that they could represent not only their own local community, but their communities worldwide. In particular, I would have to ask us as an organization based in Nigeria to take responsibility for being the ones to lead the charge. There is now a 2021 through 2023 United Nations Global Compact worldwide strategy, but also an Africa-specific strategy. So it is our responsibility, I believe, to be the ones to take advantage of this opportunity to first identify what the world is doing, and then find ways that we can adapt what we're doing to what the world is doing. The people on this audience are the ones that are best qualified to represent themselves, their organizations, and these global challenges. So I would ask if you would contact Reverend James and or myself and or Joseph Akinola. What we're committing to do is providing a platform through AHIABGA-TV to provide a platform where no matter what language you speak, you can get your message out to the audience that you choose. So no matter where in the world your audience is, they can, in fact, if they're able to access the internet, get to you. So Joseph Akinola has produced a very short tutorial. We are now using Zoom. Last year, I did over 1,000 hours of conversations and hosted multiple events through Zoom. However, I am offering through this collaboration for us to take advantage of other technologies that we can integrate with this technology. For example, if you'll, in your chat, you'll see a StreamYard tutorial that Joseph did. The idea is that each of us needs to have our own profile. We have to have our own introduction of who we are individually, then what our talent, skills, and abilities are. But from a business standpoint, we also have to let people know how to do business with us. So, Doctor, I'm going to point you as that person through which we'll direct all of our efforts, because it's you who have contact with these people around the world who speak not just English, but other languages. I want to bring back to your awareness. I do not fully condone, support, or even like all of the activities of the United Nations. However, I do recognize it as the international organization that represents not just 193 countries, but through their alliance with the Universal Declaration for Indigenous Rights for those peoples who are discriminated against because they are not involved with states and nations, but with their local communities. So our task is to connect that dot. So thank you very much. I just want to commit myself to supporting all of your efforts, but I do want to have a strategy for us to move in lockstep with what the world is doing so they can come to us for solutions and we can empower all the people that you brought to the table, not just now, but forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Highness. And thank you for, that was for the teachers who are just joining us. Can we mute ourselves and give a big round of applause to His Royal Highness Andrew Williams Jr. So you don't see him on the way and say Ghana must go, you get a slap. And they say, who told you Ghana must go? And I will show you that I'm a neuroscientist. Neuroscience, waiting in me, I open your head. Whatever I say, I use a fry my akara. Waiting be akara, you will soon know. So please, nobody should go say things like whatever you want to say. I will defend my people, and my people are the whole world. Your Highness, I thank you for giving us this platform. And I must say, Princess Sefi is going to be teaching, because if I had said the people said they didn't call me, we did interview, we didn't say name, everybody just came. So Princess Sefi is for the African version of the Brazilian Portuguese and Zulu and Swahili. So my organization have said they want Swahili, and the global president is Ghana Fulani, and her special advisor is the king of Ghana Fulani. So we see why Ghana is very important. And I must say they are the ones, you know, for this award, because when they do a movie, you see that it is true, it's original. That's why when they do WHOPE, they say if you are not from Ghana, go to another question. The Ghanaians answer all the questions, and all of us answer the one we can write. So thank you, Your Highness, and for all countries you represent, we're so grateful to have you on board. Please, my teachers, unmute yourself and give a round of applause, please.
Teachers, you have to clap for Ambassador Andrew Williams Jr. And Dr. Yuande, please note this. We want a platform for all of them. Get a platform, like a WhatsApp platform, where you can easily put a message through to coordinate them. Then if you're having any message, we can easily drop it there for them or check on them. At this point, I want to...
by their countries, sir.
All right, yes,
they will be distributed by their countries, sir, because we have different time zones. Yes, sir.
All right. But what I mean, we want them in all the lecture teachers in the platform, so they might have their different.
Yes, sir.
So I want to officially thank again all the participants today, especially the special guests, even for Sir Timothy to stay wait behind to this level. I must commend you and Dr. Nahal Suleman. So thank you so much. Sir Timothy, I want to know if you're still alive with us. Sir Timothy?
Yeah, I'm with you. Sorry about that.
Please, can you just, let's see your face again and say one or two things to round off this program.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This is wonderful. This is James you have been talking with all this while. This is James Mercy of Obatunmibi, and it's a pleasure having you on board, Sir Timothy David. So please, just 1 minute, can you say something before you call it a day?
Thank you so much once again. And I really want to appreciate everyone. The job you guys have been doing, they are really tremendous. And everyone who has introduced himself one way or the other, including Ambassador Andrew, if I'm right, and every other persons that have spoken. Thank you all for doing this, and for this wonderful privilege, gathering people from all over the place, different continents, meeting different faces. One thing I love about the diversity of organizations like this is that you bring together a pool of different talents, skills, know-how, and expertise, and it kind of makes an organization run pretty much smoothly. And I've been privileged to also meet various people from different worlds, and you get to appreciate people's culture, and you get to know them better if you get to come a little bit closer to them or develop an interpersonal relationship with them. But other than that, when you sit far away, you really don't know what is going on the other side of the world. And so this organization is kind of like, I call it kind of like a platform or a pool where you bring everyone and kind of, interconnect everybody together and gets to bridge the gap that one of the causes of discrimination. And again, this is my appreciation for what you have done. And I'm really honored, privileged, and very grateful for giving me the opportunity to be here in your midst. And I have enjoyed the program. I didn't wish it to end, but unfortunately, we have other things to do. So hopefully maybe some other time, I will be pleased also if I have the invitation to also, join you guys one more time. And thank you again for everything.
Thank you so much, Sir Timothy. Thank you so much. Monthly, we do have this program because we celebrate United Nations International Day. So we have selected the ones that has to do with us. The next program now shall be on March 26th to celebrate another United Nations Day. So we'll be expecting you another that will be coming on board. I just saw His Royal Highness Princess Effie from South Africa joining us now. Though she's coming late, we still have to appreciate you for coming on board. And everyone that are here today, I must say thank you so much. Wherever you have come from, thank you so much. The chaplain Josephine Ikudaimbo, thank you for moderating this program. Then all our teachers from India, from Chinese, the Chinese from China, from Filipino, from Brazil, and others, we have to say thank you so much for coming on board, joining us here. And so also our dear Honorable Dr. Yewande for putting this together. Ambassador Andrew, His Royal Highness, for having this opportunity given to everyone. We have to say thank you so much. And I still see him raising up his hand. Maybe still have to say something. Your Excellency, Ambassador Andrew.
Well, thank you so very much. And I'm honored and privileged to have my beloved daughter, Princess Seppi, here. But you also need to know that she represents a particular part of the world, the cradle of humankind, Gauteng. It's important that we understand that at one time we were all united together in blood, and we are still all united together as blood, as human beings. So with that, I would like to ask Princess Seppi to take as much time as she'd like to introduce herself and to share with us any of her thoughts. Princess Seppi, the floor is yours.
Good evening, and thank you so much to my Dade, His Royal Highness Prince Andrew, and good evening, Your Excellency, our presidents. Good evening to my other fellow sister, Princess Yewande, and also our doctor here, whom we are very much so proud of. And good evening to everyone who's here from all corners of the globe. We're having issues of power this side, so please excuse me for not showing, so that at least I'm connecting from the cell phone and trying to get as much as possible. I'm hoping that you can hear me very clearly, Ndade.
Yes, of course, go right ahead.
Yes, so when we speak about discrimination, I think everybody knows our history here in South Africa. We have really fought very hard, and we have our Tata Mandela to thank for really pulling and doing such huge sacrifices. I think the globe knows that he is the global icon for putting South Africa on the map. Yes, it may have been painful to him, but like all other countries where they have fought discrimination, for where we are today, we are grateful to him. And we know that we are exemplary throughout the world. And then when we speak about the cradle of humankind, we are also speaking about the traditional space, which also I'm advocate for. And the traditional people that we know, there's also the house, the National House of Traditional Leaders and Khoisan. Those are the people that we know that they were the original people that were found here by the colonizers when they came. It didn't mean that we didn't exist. We already had, we're already here. And even this day, we are still saying we have a voice. We will not be discriminated against. And even our women, our children, and everybody else, including the traditional or indigenous people. I'm so happy to be here and to continue the path and to continue this journey with our Dr. Yewande as well, for the great work that she will be embarking on. She's already started for our continent, together with the HOPE executive as well. Thank you so much to everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ndati. Thank you.
Thank you, my sister, Her Royal Highness Princess, Director for African Languages. So if you are saying that, oh, this Yoruba book was done abroad, why is Yoruba book from North Carolina? And they can say it was done by Yewande. Yewande is an American. So that's why we declare our conflict of interest. So on behalf of American College of Healthcare Executives, I thank you that you've allowed me to use you to practice. So when I go for my fellowship exam, it's a 6 hours exam. If you are tired, you urinate and come back again. 6 hours means you can start 10 o'clock and finish 9 p.m. 6 hours must complete. You want to sleep, there's hotel, go and come tomorrow, 6 hours must complete. So I'm going to defend Royal College of Physicians and American College of Health Executives. Me alone will say what happened in COVID in Britain, Africa, and why we should all work together. So hopefully we will all celebrate our teachers on my fellowship when I am getting the Royal Handshake and the American Handshake. I hope Sir Timothy is noting. American College of Healthcare Executives are about to be a fellow. Thank you on behalf of Nigerian Army. I will be United States Army Medical Service Corps. Now, good day.
Thank you, Dr.
Wonderful.
Yewande. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. And as we round up the program today,
Go right ahead.
I'd like to say thank you for coming today. We would have the next program on the 24th of March of this month, March. It's titled International Day for the Right to the Truth Concerning Gross Human Rights Violation and for the Dignity of Victims. So once again, everybody be prepared. We know we already have a good day today. I know we'll have a better than next in the next coming meeting. And it's nice meeting you again. I am able and beautiful Dr. Yewande, the ever smiling princess, and
let me correct you, please. Let me correct you.
Yes, ma'am.
Soldiers are neither male nor female.
No female.
Yes,
right.
Soldiers are neither male or female. I am an officer. I'm a doctor. No, don't call me Dr. Mrs. or you know, it's an insult. A professor is a professor.
Okay, Dr. Yewande.
Yes. Don't call me
Nice
beautiful. It's an insult. And don't call it soldier handsome. Don't your doctor in gynecology. He just gave you your doctor is handsome. No, it's an insult. So just say Dr. Yewande, and I say yes, thank you. So that's one lesson you've learned. Beautiful means I'm a girl. I'm not a girl. I'm male and female. We are soldiers.
I'm female. Dr. Yewande, thank you for the correction. And thank you to His Royal Highness Andrew William James, William Jr. Oh, sorry. and thanks to my, sorry, I need to work on the names. I'm working on it. So thank you to my humble and exceptional boss for this privilege given to me. I'm Ambassador Dr. James Obatunmibi Messi. Thank you so much. So I will hope to meet again in the next meeting on the 24th of March. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for attending. We really enjoyed this. You can find a replay on Facebook on the AHIABGA network. This entire presentation will be replayed there, but I'll make sure Pastor James also get the YouTube link so he can share that with you. Thank everyone for attending, and we're going to end today's session. Thank you so much.